Anthropic study finds most workers use AI daily, but 69% are hiding it. Nearly 70% are using AI and pretending they're not, actively lying or doing it sneakily. Good morning, everybody. This is AI with Kyle. I'm running through the latest AI news and updates of the week. We are expecting a new ChatGPT model this week, codenamed Garlic. Probably going to be GPT 5.2, probably going to be a fine-tuned model. It is not out yet, but it's meant to be a Gemini 3 beta. Google released something called Deep Think, which is an even better version of Gemini 3. I fear OpenAI, ChatGPT's creators, are aiming at a target that has now shifted. We're going to find out later in the week. Right now, this is all speculation. So we're going to cover some stuff from last week and over the weekend before what I assume is going to be a busy week with the release of the next version of ChatGPT. Going to be exciting, but it's not here yet. We're expecting in the next couple of days, maybe today, but we will see. Right, I'm going to hop over to a couple of news items. Just a quick reminder, if you are not already subscribed, you can join both the community and the newsletter over on aiwithkyle.com. When you do, you get a 5-day AI readiness course, a bunch of other courses. I can show them to you here right now. I've got AI Niche Navigator, AI Business Starter Pack, that's 123 lessons, multiple hours of videos, the 10-week AI summer camp, etc., etc. That's all for free, and it's available in the community and on the website. Go to AI with Kyle, join the community, or join the newsletter. You'll be able to get access to all of that. We are working to streamline it all. It's part of a push to educate 1 million people in using artificial intelligence. I'm seeing people falling behind, scared, worried about using AI, who need a little bit of assistance getting on board and to help them sort out the next few years of their life. This is an important technology. I'm starting to give away a lot more for free, helping you work through that material, helping you use AI to make your life better. Hopefully it's useful. It is a work in progress, and we are still aligning everything on the site, making sure everything is nice and accessible for all of you. Again, the site is aiwithkyle.com, but it is still very much under construction. Let's hop into the news. There isn't much actual news today because it's been the weekend. There were some items from last week I wanted to cover. This is very interesting. I used to work in digital marketing. I used to run a digital marketing agency, and one of the things that we did was run adverts for our clients, so Facebook ads, Google ads, etc., etc. And I remember when ChatGPT first came out 3 years ago, literally 3 years ago, I remember looking at it and being like, "Oh, it's not very good at the moment, but this is going to be a problem, a real issue for my business running adverts, because AI will probably get very good at writing these adverts. It'll probably get good at generating images. It might even get good at doing video, and it is. And that's going to be a massive risk to me and my team, because if we are handcrafting ads, but an AI can do better and faster, that's a problem." That was one of the reasons why I pivoted out of digital marketing more into artificial intelligence. We just had a study, I think it's from NYU. Yeah, it looks like it's NYU and Emory. So they did a paper on adverts generated from artificial intelligence. And the big takeaway here is AI created visuals, so images, got 20% more clicks than ones that are generated by human beings. So 20% more clicks in the world of advertising. That is massive, absolutely massive. So visual ads got 20% more clicks than ads created by human, unless, and this is really important, unless people realize and know that they are AI generated. If the people know it's AI generated, then they get 31% less clicks than human made ads. So as long as people don't know it's AI, they're very happy, more happy to click on that ad than they would if a human had made it. That means it's a better ad. But if they know it's artificial intelligence, they hate it and they will not click on it, and it drops by 31%. Really interesting finding. Really interesting finding. Importantly, Ethan Mollick points out here, the AI ads were selected by human experts for many AI options. So there is still a layer of human here. So the AI is generating, let's say, 1,000 ads, and then the human experts are going through and being like, "Oh, that one's good, that one's good. Nope, get rid of those. Okay, we'll use these ones and not use these." So there is still a layer of expertise. However, they are using the AI itself for the generation of the images, which means there's still a job, there's still work for somebody who works at the kind of higher executive level of working out all of the ads that are going to go live, whereas this is more of a threat for people who are generating image ads. What I'm going to do is I will link in the actual paper in the newsletter. This will be in the newsletter so you can read through it. So it's the impact of visual generative AI on advertising effectiveness is NYU and Emory. But I think really interesting thing is if people don't know it's AI, the AI does better. If people know it's AI, it does much, much worse. So people are, when they're unconscious of the fact it's AI, they like it more. As soon as they find out, they hate it. That's not really a rational decision. That is based on them hating artificial intelligence, not liking something that's generated by AI, maybe feeling tricked by AI. Until that point, they were perfectly happy to click on that advert. I think we're going to be seeing that across a range of different fields where people are perfectly happy to accept AI responses when they do not know it's AI. But as soon as they find out, they get upset about it and they refuse to work with it. I think we're going to see that a lot, which will unfortunately push companies towards lying, towards saying this is not AI. Because as long as there are biases against it, companies will not say. I'm going to hop over to some questions and then back to news. Let's see, it's Monday morning, so it's slow. Good morning, Nikki. As Layla points out, you have to label AI according to EU law. Yes, you do. A lot of social media networks are adding the requirement to label. When I upload to TikTok, I need to say this is AI or not AI. I don't personally use AI to generate stuff, but there's a little toggle. And sometimes it will even be flagged as artificial intelligence, even when it's not, which is quite annoying. Things like Nano Banana Pro, you'll notice there is a little watermark in the bottom right-hand side, star. That can be removed. If you use the API, you don't have to have that on. But I think society needs to, we're still in the process of working out labeling works and whether it's abided by, and that is obviously going to have an impact on advertising as well. And the EU laws are interesting right now because the EU AI Act hasn't been fully implemented and some of the areas of it are being weakened. They're being diluted because they realize that it was throttling creativity. It's good and reactive to the market, but the problem with the EU AI Act or any policy to do with artificial intelligence is that technology moves so fast, so that by the time you've debated it, by the time you've understood it, by the time you've drafted and approved, AI has moved on because it's been a year. That's always going to be a problem with any type of legislation, any bills or acts to do with artificial intelligence. That does not mean we should not legislate it. It's just a problem that needs to be grappled with in terms of the speed, because it's fast. Speaking of, ChatGPT is 3 years old and they sent me some swag. I'm going to put it on. They sent me a ChatGPT hat, a ChatGPT hoodie, and a birthday cake cookie for OpenAI, which is very cute. It's not bad, is it? Still got the label on. I need to take that off. I think that's a nice hat, but I do look very American, especially when I wear the hoodie as well. Somebody joked, I posted a photo of myself with the hat, the hoodie, and holding the cake, and I look like, somebody said you look just like a pizza delivery boy. And yeah, I do. I see it. Looks good, Kyle. Thank you. I look terrible in hats normally, so the fact that it's not that bad is surprising. I'm going to pull this up. It's from Shichi Chen, and it's about recognizable artificial intelligence writing. Specifically, it's a page that exists on Wikipedia, which lists out all of the different signs of AI writing. What I want to do, I'm going to pull up the actual page on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is curated and drafted by human beings. And they've got an issue right now where a lot of people are sending in LLM or AI generated edits, AI generated drafts for articles to exist on Wikipedia. And Wikipedia is always based itself on veracity and a proper publishing and editing process to make sure everything is legit. They've got a page which is all about this is how you make sure something is not AI generated. So here we go. We've got this is a list of writing and formatting conventions typical of AI chatbots such as ChatGPT. Taken from Wikipedia articles and drafts, it's a field guide to help detect undisclosed AI generated content on Wikipedia. This is descriptive, not prescriptive. It consists of observations, not rules. Advice about formatting or languaging to avoid in Wikipedia can be found in policies and guidelines, etc., etc. What this is really interesting for us who use artificial intelligence is when you look at a piece of AI writing and you can just tell it's AI, that comes from intuition from having seen a lot of AI writing, but it's sometimes hard to express what exactly it is that gives it away. This is a list, a very big list. If I scroll down, you'll see how large it is, of all of the different tells and giveaways from artificial intelligence. I've got somebody in YouTube telling me it's 6 a.m. and calling me a bloody mop. It's not 6 a.m. where I am because we have different time zones. I'm going to go through a few, but what I'm going to do is give you the link inside the newsletter so you can go through this because it's an incredibly detailed list. Undue emphasis on symbolism, legacy, and importance grinds my gears. I use it for the newsletter. When I produce the newsletter, I take the text from this transcript and I run it through Claude in order to help me pass it into a newsletter format. And it does this all the time. It makes everything in the news seem like the most important thing ever, emphasizes importance and legacy, which, if you watch my live, you know that's not what I talk about. I say, hey, there's a lot of news, not all of it's important. But AI treats everything as the most important thing ever to happen. So words to watch for. So stands, serves as, is a testament, reminder to, plays a vital, significant, crucial, pivotal, underscores, highlights, impactful, broader, cohesion, blah, 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 deeply rooted, profound heritage, revolutionary, anything like that where it's just over egging the importance of the subject matter, probably going to be a tell. Let's scroll through and have a look. Here we go. Negative parallelisms. That's what it's called. Parallel construction involving not, but, and however, such as not only blank, but blank. Or it is not just about blank, it's blank. This is incredibly common in ChatGPT. It's not just about the beat riding under the vocals. It's part of the aggression and atmosphere. That's a huge giveaway. And took over from Delve. Let's see if they have Delve. Yeah, here we go. Overused AI vocabulary words like Delve. Crucial, enduring, emphasizing, aligns, fostering. That's a good one. Garnered, the interplay, pivotal, tapestry. Tapestry is one that I remember having to take out of various things. Underscores, underscoring, vibrant, etc. Delve was famously overused by ChatGPT until 2022, when its incident drops off sharply. So for all of these things, OpenAI can actually look at this list and say, we can use this list to train and fine-tune our later models by removing these things, which is something that actually happened recently with Claude. Claude had a problem where it'd always say, you're absolutely right. Somebody tracked the number of times Claude said, you're absolutely right. Claude would say this when you caught it doing something wrong. Let's say you're coding and it moved things around and it put things in the wrong place. You're trying to do a hero image on your website and you've said, oh, I want you to replace this image, move some text, move this button, make it more emphasized, and it would return back to you and say, yep, done all of that. That's no problem, all done. And you'd check and it hasn't done any of it. And you go back to Claude and you say, you haven't done anything you said. Claude always responded with, you're right, I'm sorry, and explain why. This was a massive tell in Claude, now dropped off because Anthropic know it's become a bit of a joke, so they can weed it out of the model. So this list here, if you wanted to make something AI undetectable, reads more like a human, you could condense it into rules and feed it into your custom instructions and say, hey, don't do any of these. So this becomes really useful training material for future AIs or for custom GPTs or a writing bot that you might be building. But I wanted to just highlight it because it's useful for having the language to explain why large language models go wrong. So things like that, it's not just, it's this as well. That is called a negative parallelism, for example. Useful to know that. So I will add this into the newsletter. You can go through it yourself because it is extremely extensive. This is why we need Wikipedia to exist. Wikipedia is in trouble because of artificial intelligence. Hopefully the AI companies would pay them. All of the AI companies have trained off of Wikipedia without necessarily paying. I'm hoping they would donate and solve Wikipedia's financing problem. Good morning. Nikki is my mum. Lon here too. Yes, you're both here. So I covered it briefly last week. Anthropic released Anthropic Interviewer, asking users about how they use AI. And it's trying to work out optimism versus pessimism. It's trying to delve, oh my God, I just used an AI word. It's trying to delve into the data of how we use AI daily. Here's one of the headline numbers I missed when I covered it last week. Anthropic study finds most workers use AI daily, but 69% are hiding it. Nearly 70% are using AI and pretending they're not, actively lying or doing it sneakily. The study is only 1,250 professionals, small sample size. They're rolling out Claude Interviewer to get more data, but at the moment, only 1,250. They found 70% are using AI, presumably Claude, because they asked Claude users, but then they are keeping it quiet. So there is still a social stigma. At the beginning of this live, we talked about the fact that AI-generated adverts perform better than human-generated adverts, but as soon as the consumer realizes they are artificial intelligence, efficacy drops. They no longer want to buy anything. They no longer want to click. So there's still a bias against artificial intelligence. So even these people, these 70% of people who are using AI at work, refuse to disclose it. Workers feel pressured to use AI, but fear the signal it sends. 86% said AI saves them time, and 65% were satisfied with the role AI plays in their job. At the same time, 69% mentioned a stigma around using AI at work. One fact checker described staying silent when a colleague complained about AI and said they do not tell co-workers how much they use it. Workers described a basic fear: if they do not use AI, they worry they will fall behind. If they lean on it too much, they worry they are showing their employers what tasks can be automated. It's a valid concern, and one I experience when I teach workshops to businesses. I'm there to show people how to use AI so that they can be more efficient and that they don't fall behind, because a lot of companies are now cutting people who are refusing to use artificial intelligence. Deloitte said, if you do not retrain, you're out the door. And a few other tech companies as well, basically saying, if you are not using artificial intelligence, we don't want your staff. Are wondering, if AI can do my job, it becomes essential for my job, why do my company need me? It's a very valid concern. And I know a lot of pro AI people would be like, oh no, you don't need to worry about it. AI is a tool that you use and it augments you and it makes you better, etc., etc. But it is a real risk, and one that you should be worried about, because if you are using, especially in a company, you're using an internal AI to that company, they're probably training their artificial intelligence on the work that you've done. If they are smart, that's what they'll be doing, because they can cut costs later down the line. So they have you basically training your own replacement by using artificial intelligence. That is a fear that should not be dismissed, because it is something that executives do want to do. So it leads to this weird position to be in, where you want to use AI to make your life better, but at the same time you're realizing that by making yourself replaceable, you could be working yourself out of a job. You could be helping to train this AI and showing your bosses that you aren't needed. I don't know what the fix is for that. I do actually, but I'm a bit biased here. The fix here is do your own thing as well as the 9-to-5 job. 9-to-5 jobs are no longer as safe as we used to think. It used to be you'd get a 9-to-5 job, work to retirement, have a nice pension. Those days are gone. People on 0-hour contracts or people on renewable contracts that have to renew every year, fight for their own job, already know this. Increasingly, 9-to-5 jobs are not as safe as they used to be. I remember when I first read The 4-Hour Work Week 20 years ago, there was a choice at that time. You could take the life of an entrepreneur, and it's high risk and it's high reward. You might not make any money, you might go bankrupt, but there's an uncapped earning. You can make limitless amounts of money because it's not connected to your time. High risk, high reward. The alternative is a 9-to-5 job, low risk, low reward. You have low reward because you're going to be tied to your salary, and you only make money whilst you work. You can't make money while you're sleeping or on the beach. It is low risk because if you get a job, you're probably going to keep it. Unless you really mess up, unless something awful happens at the Christmas party, unless you are useless at your job, you're probably going to hang on to it. So it used to be low risk, low reward, that's the 9-to-5, and high risk, high reward, that was entrepreneurship or starting your own business. That calculus has changed though, because a 9-to-5 job is no longer low risk. It's still low reward because you're tied to a salary and cannot uncap your earnings, but the risk is higher. Not just because of artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence has accelerated that risk, because there will be some jobs that won't be around in a couple of years. There will be some companies that won't be around in a couple of years because they are not embracing artificial intelligence, or new companies are coming in that are going to undercut them using AI. Some industries will cease to exist. We're probably heading towards a market correction, a recession, if and when the bubble pops, because there's a lot of dumb money being spent on AI. Even though I am pro AI, there's a lot of dumb cash being spent and thrown into investments that are not going to make any return. So we'll probably see a correction. At the same time, we're going to see artificial intelligence eating away at jobs, especially lower level jobs. We're going to see it eating away at industries and economies. The best thing you can do is have something on the side. If you are trying to diversify and be safe against different eventualities, you want different sources of income. Ideally, you have money coming from investment, money coming from some kind of side hustle or entrepreneurship, from freelancing, consulting, advisory, and your job. Don't quit your job. So you have money coming in from different places. That means that whatever AI throws at us, we're at least going to have options. Because right now, if you have one job and AI wipes out that job, your skills may not be useful in the future. And that's the really hard thing here. And if you have one source of income, that's extremely fragile. It's like having a stool with one leg. You need to have multiple. That is my answer. But the people that have the stigma, It makes them more productive, but there's attention if AI is too good at why needed for their job. Use those skills with artificial intelligence to build something yourself. Start something on the side where you are making money. AI has made it easier. I have free resources. AI with Kyle, the AI Business Starter Pack, AI Niche Navigator. This is a mini course helping you work out what kind of business to start. I've got the 10-week summer camp. This is a huge course of 10 different weeks. Probably it's 100,000 words, more than that. So this is all free on the course, and this is running you through how you would start a business using AI. Remember, AI is not a business itself. You need a valuable business and use AI to help you start and grow it. AI is not a business. AI is something we use to grow a business. By Anamed says, I have an idea around AI that I want to get your thoughts on YouTube. Stick it in the comments. Happy to. Oh, and Roy says as well, I have an idea to stick them in the comments. I'm happy. Put as many details as you can, and I'm happy to discuss them. If you want to make 50 quid, message me. I'm going to go ahead and block you. So how do you incentivize people to use AI on the job? Really good question, Layla. First, you need open discussions. That's why companies hire people like me to give workshops, to create a safe space to talk about AI, how to use it, and what it should not be used on. Because right now, as long as it's not positively approved, people just use it on the quiet. And we have something called shadow IT, where they'll bring their own version of ChatGPT to work and use it quietly, which is the worst of all worlds, because that's not private, it's not secure, it's a private version, so it's probably not a paid account, so that's no good. So it starts with that discussion with the companies basically talking to the employees, basic communication, like, hey, AI's here, what are we going to do about it? And then from there, it's this balance of having people use AI at work and reassuring them that their jobs are not going to be replaced by it. It's a really hard balance to get. From a leadership point of view, you basically need to reassure people that you are not going to replace them with artificial intelligence. And ideally, that should be coming from a place of honesty. So you're not just lying to them to get them to use AI to train your AI, but you are genuinely saying, we need you for human tasks. We emphasize to them that there are things that AI cannot do, and this is true. So even with this, we looked at the adverts here, where the NYU study AI-generated adverts got 20% more clicks than human-generated adverts. Even in this study, they found that the AI ads were selected by human experts. So the AI would generate the first drafts, and then the humans would select the best ones. So you frame it as this. We're going to use AI, and we're going to speed up our work, and it's going to automate a lot of the parts of your job. You just clearly say that. It's like, we're going to automate all these parts. What that's going to allow you to do is focus on the purely human stuff. You as a staff member, you're going to be using your judgment, taste, human connections. You're going to be using your ability to empathize, your ability to communicate. You're going to be focusing on these purely human parts of the job, and we are going to automate and augment using artificial intelligence in the parts of your job that are more algorithmic, the things that take up time and stop you from being creative. You talk to your staff and you help them shift away from plugging numbers into spreadsheets and routine reports. You get all of that automated so they can do more creative and productive stuff. Now, there are some people in every organization who maybe aren't very good at the creative and the productive stuff and are good at the automatic and algorithmic stuff. They're the people most in trouble because AI is good at the algorithmic. From a general point of view, that would be my approach with employees. You say, we're going to take away the boring stuff and free up time for the more creative parts of your job that we need humans. That's the most honest way to do it. That is still a difficult discussion, especially because there will be people in the team who do mainly algorithmic tasks. And if they're smart, they'll realize, wait, hang on, what does that mean for me? But those tasks are massively at risk, unfortunately. Your website is really great and has some excellent free resources. Thank you very much. We're still adding too much information there. So what we're trying to do now is help people access the right parts at the right time, and also providing a community where people can talk and discuss and work on things together as well. That's the idea. I created something called the Levels of AI. If you ask ChatGPT that, unfortunately, ChatGPT will tell you you're great. I've created something called the 8 Levels of AI. If you do want to work out where you are with artificial intelligence, Level 1 is first contact. You've used ChatGPT, you chat with it, you use it as a Google replacement. Level 2 is an effective user. You're able to iterate prompts. You're able to check facts, unlike Deloitte, who keep getting in trouble, taking AI at face value. Real world tasks, power users, understanding different prompting techniques, building custom GPTs maybe. Level 4, things like vibe coding, using Cursor, V0, Lovable, Replete, Bolt, etc. describing features and building with AI. Level 5 integrator is connecting pieces of software together, making sure data can flow between them and you can create workflows at this point. So vibe coding is isolated applications, but integrators connect different pieces of an ecosystem. Builder, level 6, is actually building AI applications from scratch using RAG systems, building vector databases in Pinecone. You probably know some Python at this point. The previous levels, you didn't have to code. By level 6, you need to know some Python. Level 7, fine-tuning models, building and deploying your own local large language models. Level 8, machine learning. So actually learning about machine learning, learning about how we build and train these models, training neural networks from scratch, reading and applying research papers, maybe writing your own research papers. This is like 8 levels. Again, not perfect, and there's a lot of gray area between them, but I think a useful kind of benchmark. I've got a page on my website which goes through each of these, and it basically says, this is what you can do, skills, and a free guide to get to the next level. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that works. Oops, daisy. So to get from level 3 up into level 4, maybe you want to look at this playbook. This playbook will help with that. Again, this is all free. That's all available on the website. If you want an interactive quiz, I have something called the Freedom Operating System. One of the modules, module 3, has an interactive quiz that works out where you are and where you need to be. Not everybody needs to get to level 8. Not everybody needs to be reading research papers and training their own models. Not everybody needs to understand how the inner workings of large language models, neural networks, backpropagation, in the same way that you don't need to know what HTTPS or URL is to use the internet. There are different layers depending on what you want to do with AI. In the Freedom OS operating system, I've created an assessment where it works out where you are and helps you create a plan. It might be, okay, you're at level 2, you need to get to level 5. Here's how you do that. But remember, we don't all need to get to level 8. I'm not at level 8. I'm just talking about AI. I don't have the sophistication of somebody at level 8, and I do not need it to do what I need to do. I wanted to, let me pull it up. I'm not going to play it on the stream. There is an interview with Axios. Demis Hassabis, there he is on screen. Demis Hassabis did an interview with Axios. He doesn't do much publicity. Demis Hassabis, for those who don't know, is the head of Google DeepMind. DeepMind was a research company acquired by Google in 2014. Demis Hassabis runs DeepMind, so he's co-founder. He is one of the most rational voices in artificial intelligence. He's the head of their main Google lab, pushing AI research. But unlike Sam Altman, Demis does not hype things up. He's a scientist first. He does not need to go out and raise money. He has almost infinite budget from Google to basically do what he wants. So he's in a really enviable position where they can just get on with doing the science. So when he talks about artificial general intelligence or the future of AI, he's worth listening to because he's not trying to sell anything. There's a documentary which came out last year, but it's now free as of last week, called The Thinking Game, and it's available on DeepMind's YouTube channel, or you can just Google The Thinking Game, and it's about Demis Hassabis. And you'll see very quickly, this is not a money-motivated man. When he was 16, 17, he was working at Bullfrog Games. It was Peter Molyneux's video game company. He was working on a game called Theme Park, if any of you knows it. Fantastic game. I grew up with it. He was offered £1 million back in the 90s to not go into Cambridge, but to stay and work at Bullfrog. £1 million, no. And he went to Cambridge. He did not come from money, so that was an incredible amount to turn down. In this Axios interview, he's talking about the future of AI and what we can expect in the near term and on our pathway to AGI. So he's saying 2026 is going to be about modalities, pulling modalities together. Right now we have large language models, image models, and we have video models. He's saying in 2026 it's about bringing it together, which in this case means Gemini and Veo. So Veo is Google's video model, and Nano Banana obviously is their image model. Bringing them all together and having not just being able to generate, but understanding between them. We're seeing that in Nano Banana Pro. When you generate with Google's image model, it first uses Gemini to think about and reason through what you want to generate. And that's why it's good at infographics. So you can say, do an infographic about the water cycle. Nano Banana Pro will go to Gemini and say, hey, we're designing an infographic about the water cycle. What would that look like? Gemini will design that in text, return that to Nano Banana, and then Nano Banana would generate. We're going to have more of that. That's a very basic example. He's saying that is the future. We're going to overlay world models, give our large language models, our multimodal models, image, video, audio, text. We're going to give them worlds to live in. People are talking about like Yann LeCun, who recently left Meta. He was their chief AI scientist. He's left to go and start his own world model studio, and also people like Fei Li with her Marble model. This is building a simulated world, putting the artificial intelligence in it, and allowing the AI to learn as a child would learn by interacting with, making mistakes, playing around with this world, this representation of reality, which allows us to do what has not really been available to us up until now. AIs have been very much inside a box. They're not connected to the world. They don't have senses. They're locked off. Whereas if we give them a simulated world to train in, that makes them more useful in the real world as well. So he's talking about all of this. And he also thinks AGI, he doesn't give precise timelines because he's not stupid, but he talks about AGI being much, much closer than we think. He doesn't give actual dates, but it sounds like in the next couple of years rather than decades. It's well worth watching. It's about 30 minutes long. He's one of the most sensible minds in artificial intelligence. Make sure you watch this documentary. Even if it sounds boring, a documentary about AI sounds dull, right? It is not. It's a very compelling, well-done documentary. So I've been banging on about it to everybody. Oh yeah, he also won a Nobel Prize. I forgot about that, as you do. So check out both, and I'll put the links in the newsletter. What do you think of an AI-driven consumer market research as a service to CPG and e-commerce brands? Found a way to use AI to measure whether people will pay and how much for any product idea. If it works, it sounds fantastic. It sounds really useful. So a big problem, I work with lots of people who start in their first business, and the huge problem people have, this is why I created this course here, the Niche Navigator, is people don't think about what the market is. So a lot of people, especially with their first business, will create a product or an idea that they think is fantastic, and they don't actually go out and check with the market whether or not the market wants it. If there was a tool that could take my 10, my 100 ideas, filter it down, and even if it broke it down and said, these are probably going to be the top earners, these are going to be the middlers and bottom earners, even a rough filtering tool would be useful because it would guide which markets I should start to talk to people in. I don't think AI can replace talking to potential customers. That's still super important. However, if AI can help hone us in on which customers we should talk to and which idea we should go with, that is extremely valuable. Many people have business ideas and they don't know which to go with, and they get paralyzed, entirely paralyzed, and they do not start anything. So having a tool that gives them some measure of whether people will pay and how much would be a killer tool, but you would be doing it as a service for CPG and yeah, if it works, if the data is good, that would be valuable. Too many people already having an AI business. So an AI business is not, as I said earlier, just having AI does not make it a good business. It still needs to be a business that creates value, puts that value out in the world, and convinces people to buy that value. That's what a business is. And they sell that value at a price higher than the cost, so there is a profit. It's a value generating entity. Adding AI doesn't change that. What I'm seeing a lot of are get rich quick schemes, faceless YouTube videos. Press a button, it will generate 10,000 videos, post them to YouTube, and you will make bank. No, that's not going to work because you're not creating any value for the market. And if you are creating value for the market, anyone else can do it because it's too easy and automatic. The market will get flooded with supply, demand will stay the same, and it will collapse. Nobody will make excess profits. Start with something valuable, then use AI, or use AI to create the value. But you still have to make value. So when you say there are too many people already having an AI business, as long as they're making value, it does not matter. What does matter is just using AI, not creating anything of value that anybody wants to buy. Then yeah, there's too much of that anyway, even without AI. I've gone all over the place. I think I've covered most of there weren't many big news items today. Oh, also, Raihana, hop into the community. The community is a good place to chat about ideas. I've got some people looking for business partners, so maybe come in there and give more details. It's a bit more closed if you don't feel like talking on a live stream. There are other people who are working on stuff, so we'll be able to bounce ideas with you. So that is free. If you go to aiwithkyle.com, join community, and you'll get access. In general, I've covered a lot in this live today, but there's a huge amount of stuff over on this website. We're trying to work out ways to get it to you. I've got all my prompts from all my playbooks. There's 800 prompts that link back to a guide. Here we go. And it shows you how to use that prompt. And there's over 800 of them. There's a bunch of tools. Which business should you start? Starting to give AI workshops. There's a tool here which helps you work out what that workshop should include, how to become an AI translator for your industry. So you can become somebody who does content, somebody who educates, etc. We have a catalog of, I think, 100 playbooks. So becoming a key person of influence in AI, first steps in AI consulting. Each of these is like a big chunky guide. You can see 8,000 words, 12,000 words, 5,000 words, full of examples and prompts, etc. So these are big and chunky, all free. So come along onto aiwithkyle.com to find them. Join the community newsletter, check out the courses, catalog of tools, everything is there for you. I'm putting together the AI readiness challenge, which is basically a 5-day challenge, which is helping you get on your feet with basic AI readiness. It's for people who are curious about AI, but don't really know how to get into it, don't know what they should be studying, what they should be learning, who they should be listening to, who they should definitely ignore. And there's a lot of those people, basically helping you get aligned and working out what you're going to do with AI. Because it's getting harder to ignore. It's quite important. So come to AI with Kyle and you can join everything there, and it's all free. So hopefully that will be useful. Fantastic. I will be back morning around 10 or 11 a.m. UK time with another live show. Thank you so much, and see you.